UFOs, orbs, and drones over New Jersey and now spreading all over the world. What in the heck is going on? I've done multiple videos about this. I did a whole video updating what I think is going on with plasma entities, orbs, and the overall global scale of things where everybody's going out and looking up at the sky. And we are kind of doing a weird meditation and contact protocol that is also causing a phenomena. But for some reason, when I talk about how the drones could be potentially sniffing for radiation, people are really doubting that, and they're giving all kinds of flack and acting like it's a silly idea that drones could sniff for radiation. Now, saying that they're sniffing is kind of a metaphor. They're just detecting things like gamma radiation, and they're looking for certain signals that you don't even need to fly in the daytime in order to detect or see, because you're not using traditional optics or cameras. You're using digital sensors and detectors that are literally picking up tiny particles like of uranium or gamma radiation and all kinds of exotic things that the sensors are developed to detect. And they are absolutely things that our government has and that they have contracted out into civilian corporations. And even back in October 19th, 2020, look, here's an announcement. Low-flying helicopters above DC are assessing radiation prior to the inauguration. And these are sensitive devices and sensors mounted on the bottom of low-flying helicopters. And this is back in 2020. It flat out says the U.S. Army and Air Force will be training with low-flying helicopters around D.C. tomorrow. Starting today, residents of the D.C. area may spot helicopters flying at rather low altitudes above the city and surrounding region ahead of the presidential inauguration. What's coming up? The presidential inauguration and also New Year's, the ball drop at Times Square. Helicopters are part of a nuclear Emergency Support Team, NEST, fleet of U.S. Department of Energy National Nuclear Security Administration that will measure naturally occurring background radiation. So they're going around making sure that the radiation levels in the city before the inauguration and before major events in populated areas to make sure that they're safe. So just imagine for a minute now, if back in 2020 they were doing this with helicopters, and there's even photos on the website where they have low-flying planes with the sensors mounted, and these are prop planes that fly really slow and really low over residential areas in order to fly a grid-like pattern, 150 feet or higher, about 80 miles per hour, and they're going to have those red and green lights blinking on them, and they're searching for radiation frequencies and signals before the presidential inauguration. Right on the Nuclear National Security Administration website, there's the Aerial Measuring System, AMS. This is the airplane I was just talking about that has sensors mounted underneath the props of the plane and under the fuselage, and it flies really low to detect radiation. This is a company or agency that has been working out of Washington, D.C., and they fly all over Las Vegas as well. You gotta imagine if they were using helicopters and airplanes back in 2020, it's only plausible that they would have advanced drones and a mixture of helicopters, planes, and drones that could be flying around New York City, Washington, D.C., and major areas and ports before the inauguration. But it flat out says here right on the websites, the Aerial Measuring System, AMS, is a rapidly deployable capability that can respond to all manner of nuclear incidents and accidents in the United States and overseas. As part of NNSA's Nuclear Emergency Support Team, AMS consists of a fleet of aircraft equipped with specialized radiation detection systems to provide real-time measurements of air and ground radiation contamination. It talks about how they developed this at the Nevada test site. They were rapid response teams that are available to deploy 24/7. Also, in my last video, I posted about how a mayor of one of the townships of New Jersey came out and said that he was in a meeting with over 200 officials and said that the drones are most likely, most plausibly, a defense countermeasure. And so that also fits with that program we just talked about. Again, everybody immediately is like, well, what about the orbs? What about the plasma phenomena? I have a video pinned to the top of my TikTok that you can go watch, and also There's the videos on my YouTube channel. I have multiple videos where I talk about the orbs and plasma phenomena as being a real thing. I personally believe, and this is speculation, that with everybody going outside to look at the drones, we have this mass wave of people going out and looking up and doing a form of meditation that's called CE5, that is a contact protocol. When you go outside and you look up with this anticipation, like you're gonna see drones or UFOs in the sky, that is a form of like reverse remote viewing, telepathic psychic tethering, that these orb and plasma phenomena that appear in the thermosphere could be attracted to. Also, are orbs and UFOs attracted to radiation? And is there something that has been snuck into the major population? And there's an event brooding around Times Square and around New Year's Eve and the presidential inauguration and everything, to where with all these drones and helicopters flying around searching for some anomalous radiation signal, the UFOs and the orbs and all that are attracted because people are going outside and looking up and doing the telepathic communication to attract the UFOs on top of all this going on too. So it's like layers of weirdness. One of my best friends is also a federal officer that worked at Area 51 and at Skinwalker Ranch. And he said that one of his close friends just got deployed to Syria, and Israel just did this over in Syria. So everything before the inauguration and New Year's is probably on high alert. With all of this going on right now, as I'm making this video, this is happening on the other side of the world. We also have to remember that Sean Ryan on his podcast had a Pentagon specialist who said this: there is 100% chance that in 2025 that there is sleeper cells in the United States that want to get revenge for everything that has happened over in the Middle East and over in Ukraine. And you should definitely go watch this Sean Ryan podcast. The fact that it was posted just 4 days ago, I think makes it very relevant. Everything from UFOs to orbs flying over and observing like something is about to happen, like it's culminating and building up to an event. We have the presidential inauguration, we have New Year's, we have all that stuff going on over in the Middle East, over in Syria. There's just so many layers to this for these drones to be flying around doing counter defense measures, and then on top of that for UFOs to be like anticipating that something major is going on and flying around and spectating. With everybody going out and looking up at the sky, it's pretty fascinating. So let me know, what do you think is going on? The layers of UFOs, the drones, the orbs. Let me know what you think is happening, what is gonna happen, what should we expect. Of course, all of this is speculation. We're still waiting for official answers, but are we actually ever gonna get any real answers? I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see.